so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life, well, that's another, which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. I'm the reflection and extension of you who will be here each Wednesday interviewing a different consciousness changemaker. And on the other 4 weekdays, leading the way to ensure that your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. Also, before we jump into today's episode, I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a few sponsors that not only help to make it possible to produce this show 5 days a week, but that I'm also genuinely passionate about promoting, especially since they're helping to fund all the cool projects we have in the works, such as the Positive Head app, the docuseries that I'm intending to begin shooting within the next year, and whatever else we dream up over here at Positive Headquarters to help spread consciousness across the planet. Now, if you're short on time or just super excited for today's topic and want to dive right in and skip these ads, feel free to fast forward about
4 minutes
to get right into today's show. That being said, I strongly encourage you to listen because the reason I'm passionate about my sponsors is because they've made a huge impact in my own life, which is why I've aligned with these organizations. And I firmly believe they can do the same for you too. The first longtime stellar supporter of the show that I want to mention is Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online with over 8,000 video titles. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. The second sponsor I'm extremely passionate about promoting is Purium. It's no mystery that bringing your mind, body, and spirit into balance is necessary if a person truly intends to manifest the greatest and greatest version of themselves. And as of recording this, it's been about 4 months since I started taking the Purium Core 4 superfood products every day. And I can honestly and sincerely say my mind, body, and spirit have never felt more in alignment. If you've been looking for a way to easily get superfoods into your system every day with a simple plan that can help you reestablish a healthier foundation and relationship with food, I cannot recommend for you to start with the Purium 40-Day Ultimate Nutrition Plan, which includes a 10-day metabolic reset and cleanse enough. I spent personally months researching Purium before I jumped in, and now myself and over 150 other positive heads have started with the 40-Day Ultimate Nutrition Plan, and many of us have continued taking the Core 4 products on an ongoing basis daily ever since. I personally intend to take them for the rest of my life because they played a huge role transforming my vibrational state. If you decide to do it, it'll cost you just over $7 a day for the first 40 days and only about $5 a day after. But if you do it the way that I recommend you to do it, the smartest and most beneficial way, it won't cost you anything. I recommend you to just look at where you can reallocate money you are already spending on food each day. Essentially, you're just going to swap out the unhealthiest stuff you're in the habit of purchasing in exchange for Purium superfoods. And this way, it costs you nothing to participate in the transformation and cleanse. And it creates exponential benefit because now you've replaced something that lowers your vibration with something that is going to make you feel super high in the healthiest kind of way. Just take a few minutes, see where you can cut out $5 to $7 a day and commit to doing it. It's that simple. Also, for support, we'll be doing a big group transformation with other positive heads and soul family once each month for support. So I recommend, going right now, ordering your 40-day Ultimate Nutrition Plan bundle so that you have it when the next group transformation starts. Procrastination is not your friend. Order it now. You can thank me later, because I can assure you, you will not be sorry you've decided to send a message to the universe that you're ready to step up your vibrational game and reclaim your health sovereignty. Just head over to ishoppurium.com. That's spelled ISHOPPURIUM.com. Be sure to use the code POSITIVEHEAD, all one word, for either $50 off or a 25% discount, whichever is greater. And also, if you want to learn more details about the Purium products, why I'm so passionate about promoting them beforehand, you can go check out several videos I shot discussing these things in greater detail. You can also hear my interview with the very inspiring founder, David Sandoval. Much, much more over at positivehead.com/transformation. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. It is a terrific Tuesday here in the studio. And happy to say I'm not alone. I have Miss Dr. Erica Middlemiss here with me. Hello, Erica.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me today.
Erica decided that she needed to come in and take control this fine Tuesday, and who was I to say no? No, we have some things that we want to talk about that have, really impacted her life directly, and a lot of people in California, these fires, and we felt like we got talking about it, and Erica had, it turned into a conversation that then turned into, well, we should have the mic rolling and we should be talking about this on the show. So we're going to talk a little bit about tragedy today and dealing with tragedy and all the nuances of that experience in people's lives. And, it's obviously a challenging thing. And before we kind of dive into all of that, though, I want to take a quick moment and read a review on iTunes, because, well, you guys know I love my iTunes reviews, and they help to continue me's to do this podcast. They continue to fuel my fire and help me to fuel my fire and all kinds of things. Speaking of fires, this is a good kind of fire. And this particular review came in by Primar5683. And Primar wrote, "Hi, Brandon. My name is Priscilla. I live in San Jose, California." Real quick, Erica, is San Jose an area that was affected? Because I know that's up there.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I was about to say that would be an interesting synchronicity. Right. I've been listening to your podcast for months and tell myself to write a review after every episode. There's so much I want to say, but I couldn't figure out how to put it all in one review. I'll start off by saying how your podcast saved me from falling into a deep depression. I discovered your podcast while struggling with depression in the beginning of my spiritual awakening. I was confused and frustrated. The first episode I heard, I paused and told myself in excitement, I am not crazy, I am not alone. I will never forget that moment. My life changed from that point on. I call this time my journey to self-love. I love how transparent and humble you are on the podcast. I'm also separated from my son's dad, 3 years now. I love being a mom. My son is the best thing to ever happen to me, but I can get overwhelmed at times. Listening to your podcast helps me reconnect and move forward with a positive attitude. Brandon, Alexa, and other co-hosts, keep spreading love, motivation, and inspiration through your podcast. Love you all so much. And so you were actually pretty much mentioned there, Erica. So that's cool. I mean, not by name, but you fall into the other co-host. Yes, exactly. You're another.
I'm another.
Thank you, Priscilla, for taking the time. Yeah, exactly. We're all generic reflections around here.
Exactly. Thank you. That was a beautiful review.
We're not generic. We're unique. We're both. We're both generic and completely unique all at once.
All at once. So, yeah. So, Erica, as you kind of brought up when we were talking, and you had just gotten back from Northern California, and maybe you can share a little bit of what you were sharing with me about, your extended family there. Sure, of course. So, some of you might know my fiancé, Brian, who's been on the show a couple times with me. His parents lived
in Paradise, California. It's where he grew up. And Paradise is one of the areas that was affected
Hardest
the
hit.
most. Yeah. It was the deadliest fire in California history. I think the death toll right now is up to 85, and there's still a couple hundred people that are missing. 16,000 homes and 18,000 structures, businesses. The whole entire town is gone. And so that means that people not only lost their homes, but they also lost their businesses, some of them.
Wow.
So Brian's parents lost their home. His stepbrother lost his home. His great-grandparents lost their home. Family, for everyone they know, lost their home. And this is a small rural area. So, it's 1 or 2 roads in and out of the area. And so these people actually all escaped within inches of their life. I mean, they were driving down the road with fire burning on either sides of them, just wondering, am I even going to survive this? So not only was it terrifying, but completely traumatic to lose everything. Yeah. Wow. So these people are really going through it right now. And so that's where we were. Brian's parents are actually very, very lucky. They found a place to live right away. Most people, though, haven't, because there's just nowhere to go. Because it's such a small town, the town right next to it, which is Chico, California, has been absorbing most of the people. But that's a small town as well. So there's not available housing, and everything has been scooped up. And so people are living in tents in the Walmart parking lot, in trailers if they were lucky enough to get them out. And FEMA's there, and all the organizations are there helping out, but there's still a lot of need up there. There's lots of families, tons of little kids I saw that are displaced, and lots of good stories though of luckily. I heard so many stories of, we were so lucky to get out when we did, and I was lucky to be able to get the animals out. A lady told me a story of, she lived on a farm basically, and she had all these rabbits and chickens, and she was able to get every single one of them out. Somehow she had time to tie cages together to the back of her car and get all these animals out. So so many stories of people just luckily just being able to get out and be alive today.
Yeah. So, wow. That's very intense. I mean, the fact that was like the hardest hit area. And of course, we also, not so far from where I live in Southern California, people were hit. My friend Satara, who lives in Malibu, I'd literally just been to her house a week or so before. Same thing, like that house that I was at, is gone, completely ashes. Gone now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it's just wild that, so many people have had their lives turned upside down. And I noticed with her, she posted about it and did a personal, GoFundMe, and a lot of her friends came and helped out and, supported her because she lost everything. And, obviously your home gone, and it wasn't her house, but she was living in it. Right. And, I really appreciated her response, publicly afterwards, just talking about I've never felt so much love and support, in this time of, this hardship, this tragedy. It shows me how much love and support and friends and family that I have that are willing to rally. And I think that's the silver lining for these types of situations. It really, really puts things in perspective of what's important in our lives, right? And it brings people together in a way that nothing else does.
Right. That's what I saw up there. Everybody coming together, just seeing each other in the light of their hearts. It was the most beautiful thing. And, I wish we could live like this all the time, treating each other in this way as if something awful just happened. Because it just basic human nature, it takes this kind of a trauma for us to behave this way on a grand scale. And I can't help but think maybe if we acted this way all the time, we wouldn't need such big traumas. Maybe this stuff wouldn't happen. We wouldn't have these type of catalysts. But we need them in our current state in order to push us together, to show us who we really are, so we can see that every single person absolutely has good in them, no matter who they are, no matter what their beliefs and perspectives are, no matter what. Every single person has such a good heart, and we see this in these times, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's, I think back to seeing that statement, I don't know, in the 80s from Ronald Reagan. I've seen it where he's talking about, like, if aliens were to come and attack, how quickly we would all come together. And that's sort of, you think of 9/11, or you think of any of these sort of events where it really gives people an opportunity to realize all the small stuff that we're caught up on, this petty stuff, is so petty. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. And I think if we can, those of us who were not affected by something tragic, right? Most people have or will be at some point in their life, whether it's losing, you're a parent one day, or losing a family member, or having something, like your house burning down, or whatever it may be. I think most people don't get through life unscathed without, something that they would view as a tragic moment. If you can bring that realization that literally in a moment it can all be turned upside down, and how precious life is, because we get so caught up in these little things, and I wish my dishwasher was better, and therefore I'm going to let it ruin my day because someone said this to me or did that to me. It's like life is this precious, fragile. I think we really forget how fragile we are, because we've done such a good job of creating, these, containers that we live in, these homes, and perfect environments. And, whenever I watch something that's like, for example, I just watched the movie Alpha the other day. I don't know if you're familiar with this movie or not. I highly recommend it. It was really, really good. It's like a coming of age movie, just recently released from I don't remember it in the theaters, but not that I pay that close attention, but I think it was it's just out for rent. And it's a coming of age movie, like the main character is probably, 18 years old or something. And it's not only a coming of age story. He gets separated from his family, his village. 20,000. It's supposed to be 20,000 BC, right? So it's way back, and it's supposed to be the beginning origins of man and dog's friendship, along with this kid's coming of age story. And he goes on, he gets separated from his whole tribe and ends up with a wolf. And, I won't tell the whole story, but it's just one of the things when I was just watching it a few days ago, I thought, wow, we forget how exposed our ancestors were and how fleeting life was. It's no wonder that, we lived to like 35 back then, if we're lucky, right? That was like an old man. It's like we're these fragile like flowers, we're like super, and our lives are like that. And it's so important to bring that awareness to your everyday life and to appreciate the things that you have, because it can, and I think that's one of the beauties of, an event like this. It brings people that awareness, like, wow, I lost everything, but gosh, I'm so glad my child is here with me and he wasn't, killed in the fire. And then think of the people who weren't so lucky, right?
Right. Yeah. 85 of them. And counting.
And counting probably. And counting. Yeah, right.
Yeah, because they're still searching through the rubble. And, but wow, just all the stories of like the lucky to be alive is amazing. And I think that is so beautiful too, because it's like, when it's your time, it's your time. And when it's not, it's not. You're going to get out, I mean, by this like little thin hair, you're going to get out.
Right.
And be able to use this experience as an opportunity to learn and to grow and to come together. And that's, wow, the most important thing. It's so beautiful. I can't even tell you the beauty that I saw up there going on. It was just, Yeah, it's that, sort of death and rebirth process that you see people who are fortunate enough to have, like, oh, we're going to give you a glimpse of it all being taken away, so that but you're going to survive, and now you have that expanded perspective. And I think sometimes people really need that to appreciate, this
brief moment in eternity. I found a quote. I was just looking, and Paulo Coelho said, "The only thing tragedy gives us is the opportunity to rebuild our life." And I love that quote. It's like, once again, what are we going to take away from this? Are we going to take it as, wow, I lost everything, and everything is lost, and poor me, and if you can, anyone who maybe is hearing this and has been through it, it's like, when you understand that you're an infinite divine being with unlimited resources at your disposal, it's like, if something is being rearranged in such a dramatic fashion, don't get the best thing you can do is not to get caught up on the fact that everything was lost, right? It's like, oh, you're being given a fresh slate. And the good news is you have this newfound perspective, newfound appreciation for life, and the power within you to literally recreate something even bigger and better. And I think of big fires like the Chicago fire, famous Chicago fire, 100 plus years ago, and something like that. And where, then it's used as an opportunity to really rebuild in a way that makes things way better than they were before. And that's sort of the process of nature in general, oftentimes, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's part of the hero's journey. It's written into the blueprint of our society, this death and rebirth that has to happen in order for us to come back to the oneness. And in this process, it is a death. People are experiencing a death, and with that comes grieving and mourning that has to happen.
Right.
So while there is this perspective of, yes, this is an opportunity for me to regrow and to build, also needing to have that period of grieving their loss, because there's things that can be replaced, tools and kitchen utensils and things like that. But when you have like memories and keepsakes from maybe deceased family members that were really important to you, that kind of stuff can't be replaced, and that can really get to people. I know for sure, if it was me, I would be very upset losing some of the things that my mother gave me, who's been
right.
gone years. Like, that would be the hardest thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's very polarizing to see people can either choose to go that way, this positive route of saying, this is amazing, I can, I can rebuild, I can take this as an opportunity to create a whole new life, whole new career, because that's what some people are doing. And then
sure.
Or there's people who are going the other direction, unfortunately, and that's why I say it's polarizing, because you can either act your best self or you can be your worst self in a situation. And there's people that are looting the houses that are still standing. So that's right, of helping your community. But that's what we're here to do, I think, in this life, is to make this choice of, am I here to serve others or am I here to serve myself? And it's these situations that make us make that decision.
Yeah.
Because we have to make that decision right now. That's part of what's happening on the earth, and in this whole ascension process, is making this choice.
Yeah.
So unfortunately,
and scenarios are going to be created to do just that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And to think about that whole idea of there are no victims. We choose this, and from a soul perspective, somewhere along the line, okay, if we didn't make this choice yet, I'm going to have this event in my life that's going to make me decide.
Yeah.
To open my heart or to not. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're guaranteed there will be people 10 years from now and say, "Oh my gosh, at the time of this destruction, I was so traumatized, and all was lost, and I was so disappointed and sad, and and now I can look back in hindsight and see, oh my gosh, that's one of the best turning points that ever happened to me." And I think a lot of times, even with natural disasters, and I'm not even sure exactly how these fires were started. It seems like I did see one of them I did see something about how one of them, and I know in some cases they're natural, and other times someone did something foolish, but that led to it. But either way, it's like you take like natural disasters where it's reshaped complete, swaths of land on our planet that then let it up, now it was able to become this fertile ground that later something grows from. And, there's always this balancing happening. And sometimes it looks, at the surface, very destructive. Look at a star, right? Look at a star being born, or the destruction of a star, which then ultimately led to all of us being here, right? That's a pretty, violent affair. And from one perspective, dramatic, this star that was lived this long life cycle, I certainly imagine has a soul which animates it the same way we do. It then, had the end of its physical form in some way, and to some degree, that was then, scattered throughout the cosmos. Those atoms that made up the star then reformed eventually into new planets, and out of those planets came me and you talking into these microphones at this moment, and we would not have had that opportunity had that star, not been destroyed.
Right, exactly. It's kind of amazing that circle of life. And the birth that comes from this death. I think it's going to be beautiful to see how these communities rebuild and rebuild on this framework of love.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think when we have these disasters, it's hard to think about, but maybe that area needed a cleansing. Maybe there was, just it needed a fresh
certainly
start.
Or it wouldn't have happened, right? It's like when you can understand there are no mistakes, there never has been. It's all happening. It's all happening by divine design at some level. It takes away all the judgment of it. It certainly, helps to soften the sting. It doesn't mean people aren't hurting, and certainly those most affected, certainly those that lost a loved one in this. I can't. That's a whole nother level of processing that's having to go on, right?
Yep.
But ultimately, I believe wholeheartedly it's happening. It's all happening for us and not to us, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Just so we can remember how good we all are, how beautiful our hearts are. I think that's really the main takeaway. Is that there's good in everyone, and we can let go of all of these trivial things that we worry about on a daily basis because it is just not important.
And if all of us listening who weren't affected can take, it's sort of like, I think a lot of times things happen to others so that it doesn't have to happen to you, right? Yeah. It's like, oh, how can I learn from their struggle or their hardship? In a way, and I think that's a beautiful gift that those who go through something, tragic, are sort of doing because they love the rest of us so much. It's like, here, learn from this, see this, don't take what you've got for granted. Realize how precious and fleeting and fragile life is, and I just found another quote here that I like. I'll read real quick by Jim Rohn. It said, although we are never glad when tragedy visits, we can be aware and seize the opportunity to do good in this world, even in the midst of tragedy. And I think, that's what we're obviously, it sounds like you're seeing a lot of up there, which is inspiring.
Yes, it really is. And yeah, it's like when we realize like every single human being on this planet has difficulties in their life, has something traumatic that has happened to them. And if we could just see and treat everyone all the time, knowing, okay, this person's had a hard time, we would treat people a whole lot differently, wouldn't we? If we knew every person we encountered, every person driving down the road that maybe cut us off and we're flipping them the bird. Well, maybe if we knew that person is rushing to the hospital because their spouse was just in an awful, you never know what someone has been through. So we need to always treat people in this way that, okay, you've been through something. I see you. I appreciate you. I thank you. I love you. Always, everyone, all the time. That's the biggest takeaway for me with all of this. I want us to behave like that on a regular basis. That's my call to you guys. Especially, I feel like when we're driving, we have this barrier between us. When we're on our computers, on social media outlets, we kind of have this thing where we can hide behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not treat people like we would treat them in front of their face. And that's another thing too, like to always treat people as if we're standing there looking them in the eye, seeing them from their heart. We would be a whole lot different. We wouldn't do some of the things we do online, or we wouldn't drive the way we drive, you know? Like my daughter said to me one time when I was getting mad, she was little, like 4, and I was getting mad at somebody in front of me driving. And she was like, Mom, there's probably a grandma in that car. And I was like, perspective, thank you. I'm sorry. There's a person in that car.
Grandma!
You know, it's
just kidding.
Changes your perspective.
Sure,
you know?
She's a sweet granny.
Why she got to drive so slow, though? You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want us all to remember we've all been through something, and we all need to treat each other with that type of kindness and compassion all the time. So
absolutely.
And you know, being up there, we volunteered a little bit when Brian works for a health food superfood company, and they donated this huge pallet of products. And so we put together gift bags and went to this amazing restaurant called Om Foods, where they were supplying a meal for the day for people who were displaced, and we gave away these gift bags of health products. And after that, you know, I just wanted to do more. I want to do as much as I can. So Brian and I are going to be starting a GoFundMe. And we're starting it is because we have to really figure out how to get this money that we raise to the right people. And we're not so sure exactly how to do that. I've never done anything like this before. So if anybody out there listening has some experience in this and wants to maybe give me a tip or two as to how to figure this out, where this money goes to, so we can help these families, especially the ones that didn't have insurance too, because the families that have insurance are going to be a lot better off than the ones who don't. And unfortunately, in that area, say people were renting a home, they couldn't get renter's insurance. Even if they tried, the companies wouldn't give it to them because, so they didn't have renter's insurance. So those people lost everything and have no way to replace it. Yeah. The fact that insurance companies can even say, nope, we're not going to insure you because you live in this area that's prone to
this
fire.
is only a money-making opportunity, this insurance thing.
Right.
And we're going to hedge our bets that you're not good. You could cost us, so we only want to take your money. We don't want to give it back if you need it. It's like, wow.
Yeah. And in those instances, yes, there's FEMA, there's Red Cross, and they're up there helping. But I assume it only goes so far, you know? I mean, there's 30 to 40,000 people who are displaced up there, just in Paradise alone. So So yes, so people need more help, and we're going to be setting this up, and it's going to be called Positive Heads for California Fire Relief. So we will be posting that link when we figure out all the details.
Yeah. So anyone out there who has experience doing a GoFundMe or, you know, dispersing funds to make sure, you know, 100% of the funds are going to people truly in need, or not, you know, someone saying, oh, I lost something in the fire and they lost like a matchstick or something. You know, if you have any sort of experience, or you can reach out to Erica at positivehead.com. And that's the best way to reach you, probably, huh, Erica?
It is.
And that way. And or, you know, in the Facebook group, of course, which is Positive Heads for any of you who aren't in there. We'd love to see you in there, and great place to connect. And you know, you can reach Erica through Facebook and stuff as well. But probably direct email might be the easiest. And and then once you have it figured out, Erica, obviously let me know, and I'll give a shout out here on the show to let people know who feel called that want to go and support, you know, this GoFundMe and these families. They will have the opportunity to do so once it's set up.
Awesome. Thank you. And I would really appreciate every single one of you, even if you just have like $1. If every single one of you gave $1, we would have a substantial amount of money to give to some families. So
that's true.
I'm asking for at least $1 from everybody if you can.
And $1.25 if you're feeling generous.
Or $2.22 because I like that number.
Yeah. Or $2 million if you
right.
really,
Hey, if you got it.
Jeff Bezos, if you're listening to this, we'll take $2 million. I think that is like 15 minutes of his salary, according to the last report. So I'm pretty sure he can handle that.
Wow. Yeah. So if you are a billionaire, please consider giving a substantial amount of money to this. It's important. These kids, to see these kids, especially too, like around the holidays, everything's a little tougher, right? Just lose every little thing. So yeah.
Yeah. What a tough time for it, for sure. Mm-hmm. Well, Erica, I really applaud your willingness to sort of put some energy into doing that and to try and help these families. And we'll keep all of you listeners posted as things develop with that. And all in all, I'm grateful for this moment and this opportunity to learn through the experience, through the difficulty, and it certainly helps to sort of ground in that the truth, the realization how blessed I am, and how truly, I look around how comfortable my living situation is and everything. And think of someone living in a Walmart parking lot. So sending so much love to all of you out there, anyone listening who may have been affected. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's yeah. And with that being said, Erica, unless you have anything to add, I'm going to roll a song here that I think is a beautiful song that's sort of speaks to what we've talked about today as well.
Yeah, I think that's it. I just wanted to thank you guys in advance, and just keep spreading the love out there. That's the best thing we can all do for each other.
Absolutely. With that being said, we have a song by Elephant Revival today called When I Fall. Hope you enjoy. Until next time, journey well. Also, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is my personal go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear me constantly say, it's a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration. And if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place I know of to do it, period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out.
When I fall, Lord, let me fall. When I rise, see you standing there. A light beyond the dark, a love that is unbound, a veil that shields our eyes. As the sun goes down, when I fall, Lord, let me fall. When I rise, see you standing there. When I fall, Lord, let me fall. When I rise, see you standing there. Start where we find ourselves, in heartbreak, doubt, and pain. It is here within these walls we transcend